You entitled piece of crap.
Oh my God.
No, I'm joking. Today, we are talking about entitlement and how it destroys your life.
Oh my God.
Okay, you do it.
You're so aggressive. In this episode, we're talking about entitlement and how you don't deserve everything just because you did something. You need to work hard for it. Yeah.
Sounds so fake. At naturalpodcast.com. We are back with the Act Natural Podcast with John and Courtney. Today, I am joined with the amazing, the infamous #1 graphic designer and information manager.
It's me.
Tanya Chopra. She has started so many businesses with me. You started working with Fernway Fox, like you helped start Fernway Fox 3 years ago.
That's right.
It's been amazing. You graduated from the University of Tennessee at Martin with a graphic design degree.
That's right.
And then you got a job. You made some bank. And now you work full time on everything that we do.
Yeah, because I started working for you as an intern for Letters in Motion.
Okay.
I was supposed to manage your Facebook page. That's what I was supposed to do.
Yeah, so in the interview, I was thinking I need someone to help manage my Facebook page. And then we were at Carol Reed's place, which was the Northwest Entrepreneur Center, right? And then you came in for an interview, and then, yeah, you were designing for Letters in Motion? Really?
That's right. Yeah, because I had to do, the first thing I did my first day was we did the Letters in Motion logo over again.
Oh,
and
okay.
You were like, oh my God, this is so good. I was like, really? Because I doubted myself in the beginning. So I was like, oh, he likes my work. And then you're like, hey, so I was thinking about this like media design thing. What if we have a logo? I bought it from this website.
Yeah. Okay. Those were times I just was doing what I was trying to do to get the job done.
That's right.
And I knew that I wanted to build something and create something, but I didn't know really how to do that. I had the vision, but didn't have the, know-how to really make that thing happen.
Yeah. So we started Fernway and we were at Miss Carol's, and then we moved to Martin Coffeehouse, and then we moved to Miss Vicky's, and then we came up here.
That's
so,
right. Yeah. So Miss Vicky's is a flower shop.
That's right.
They have some gifts in there too. And we thought that was going to work out. Didn't work out. And then we moved back over to the top part of Martin Coffeehouse.
And then we repainted it, and it looks great now.
Yeah. Our whole beginning journey was just jumping from space to space to space, trying to grow our idea. But I'm more interested in this. I'm more interested inside of a UTM, University of Tennessee graduate, right? Start talking about graphic design, because I hear a lot from students. We hear a lot of people trying to intern with us. We also hear a lot of people online that are just, really angry about not being given a job. And so today I want to talk to you about entitlement. I want to talk to you about extreme personal responsibility. Finally, we can have a discussion about this. But really, I want to hear about, your journey, man. Because this is important to me, hearing more about your story as a designer, as a creative. Coming from your background and then going through your education, because there's a disconnect, Tanya. There's a disconnect with students getting a degree and then thinking that they can demand a job, because you graduate and then you go into the real world. And then if your design, if your artwork doesn't stand up in the real world, well, just because you have a degree doesn't mean you deserve a job.
Oh, I agree with that, 100%. I know there's this idea that you have to graduate from college or you have to have the degree or whatever. But I think that the most important thing is if you have the talent, if you worked hard enough for it to be where you are. I don't think anybody owes you anything. I personally agree with that.
Thank you. My God.
I think if you're talented enough and you're hardworking and you're really chasing after what you want, you will get it. You will find a job if you're practical. I think that's another thing. Just because you graduated does not mean that, oh, I graduated, I need my job now. It doesn't work like that, because there's millions of other designers out there that are probably better than you.
Well, why do you think that, though? Why do you think that just because you graduate, you don't deserve a job?
Well, just because you graduated doesn't still make you a good designer. I feel like personally for me, I know that I wouldn't be a great designer if it wasn't for, my best friend Caitlin and my best friend Rachel. We sat next to each other. We pushed each other. We became good. We weren't cocky about like we're like the best person ever.
Yeah.
But it was more about like, like a Professor Sarah Haig, like her pointing out the fact that you're not like, you could do so much better than that. So it's like not being content with where you are, because I feel like you can't grow as a designer if you feel like you're the best person ever.
What do you think that, like Rachel, so we're talking about Rachel Milton, and she's been doing really great. I mean,
Yeah,
she's getting her master's degree over in Chicago.
She's getting her master's degree in Champaign, Illinois.
That's so cool. And then Caitlin, I always call her Download. Dallin. I always mess up her name. She worked with us for a while, and she's over at DPA, Discovery Park of America.
She's the assistant graphic designer for Discovery Park of America.
So do you think that they had that same mentality? Do you think?
No.
Yeah, so it is a little bit different because every single person, Tanya, you're a very rare person, which is really, I was so happy to have you like join me as like as a partner. Really, you are a partner. I know I'm so intense, but it's so refreshing to find someone with a similar background in raising. And that might seem kind of weird, but because, we come from very different like places, but I feel like the structure of how I was raised and the principles of it really were almost the same as what you had inside of this extreme ownership. I mean, not that my dad was ever like super, he was pretty harsh, but I mean, he wasn't like, you don't deserve anything, but it was really drilled into me as like, you must earn everything in your life.
Yeah. I mean, this is technically my first ever job. Like, I've never really worked anywhere before.
Well, this is a hard first job.
But I think, like, I mean, from India, like, I come from a pretty, like, poorer, low middle class family. So my mom's always taught me that if you've, like, gotten an opportunity, you cannot let go of it. And you have to do every single thing to keep it there, and you work as hard as you can. And, I'm enjoying, this is the best job I've ever gotten, but I can't, I've got nothing to compare, but I'm living my best life right now.
Yeah, man.
But the thing is, like, I feel like people always tell me, like, oh, you got so lucky, like, you had a job.
I hate that crap.
And, you got a job and you were like a junior in, like, college.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I feel like I worked really hard to get where I am. And especially, like, I know that you hold really high standards. Yeah. I've seen, in even the Coffeehouse, like, there's a lot of people who just would not be able to grab onto it and
they don't get it.
Yeah. And so I feel like, when I got it, Stout was the one that recommended me. And he told me that there were a lot of upperclassmen who could have gotten this internship, but they didn't because he trusted me in it. And the fact that that trust was there, I wanted to do something about that.
That was the opportunity that you couldn't let go.
I could not let go of it, especially because somebody else's trust was involved.
Does that mean I have to thank Stout for you coming? I like him. We go out. Just joking. Stout's awesome. Stout did the soundscape that's down here. His name is Jason Stout. He's a professor. He's a really down-to-earth guy who invests heavily inside of students, who brings a practicality to what it really means to create inside the art world, inside of the graphic design world. And,
I agree with that.
He's an artist himself. And like, this is a real thing. And it's refreshing knowing that there's someone at the university. Not saying that there's not a ton of people at the university that does this, but knowing firsthand that there's someone who gives that. And it's such a reality check. And it's always bothered me that just because you've gotten a certificate, if that you've gotten a degree, or because your parents have told you that you're great or has paid for all of your stuff, like you have this entitlement feel about that. And it's just great that you don't have that. And, is it damaging to have that sort of view towards, as a graphic designer going into the real world?
So I think I can actually give you a pretty good example of that. Something happened to me over social media, which I think is a big aspect of it, by the way. Like, social media plays such a big role in, like, the Entitlement.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think somebody who graduated from UTM a couple of years ago was complaining about how, like, they deserve so much more and how they don't have a social life, and it's because of what they have a degree but they can't do anything about it. They deserve a better job. But for
then go freaking get one.
Yeah, but they refused to. But the problem with that person was they refused to get out of Martin, Tennessee, and there are so many opportunities out there. You just have to find it, and I feel like you have to work hard on it. Like, entitlement is, no one, as I said, like, no one owes you anything. Absolutely anything. If you want something, you have to show the person, or you have to show the world that you deserve that you're working hard enough to get what you want. Like, I feel that I always joke about this, you can get anything you put your mind into.
Yeah. Well, it's generic, but it's at my core as well.
It is. It is. And, like, I do believe, I feel like I am the living person, like living example of that. So I feel like if I can do it, then anybody else can, but it's not going to be handed down to you.
Well, maybe it's because like maybe they're entitled. Maybe people are entitled because they've been given, so many things for free. Maybe they've been taught that they deserve something. And I don't get it. Like I grew up and I was like into sports. I was never any good, but every time that the whole team would get like third place, like they still gave it third place trophies. And I remember like being young and being like, I don't deserve this. Why do I have it? Why are we getting third place trophies? And it really pissed off all the coaches and like other people around me. I was like, why aren't we celebrating this? I don't understand. This is a little kid that was like emotionally confused about why I'm being validated to be less than number one. I didn't ever understand that.
Well, validation's a big thing as well. From where I come from, like the background that, the way my family's raised me, like validation wasn't as big part of it. Like when you're doing such a good job, they won't say anything to you.
Really?
You just know that you're doing a great job, so you don't expect anything. Like affirmations, I wasn't raised from affirmations.
Okay.
Like I was always...
Me either.
Yeah, if I'm doing a good job and my mom's looking at me, just because she's looking at me, I'm like, okay, I'm fine. But
because you're not being gotten onto?
Yeah.
See, I was fussed at all the time, man. I was like, because from my background, like, and see, Courtney is different. And Courtney like tells me stories all the time of, her parents just bragging on her just for like no reason whatsoever, just for like existing. And that's beautiful. That's awesome. That's awesome. And I don't want to like, my parents listen to this podcast. I love you, Chad and Cindy Sellers. You're amazing people. And they gave me a great childhood and it was great. But I didn't feel, and I didn't seek it either, but I didn't feel like it was like Courtney's childhood. I didn't feel like it was just constant, great job, great job, great job, great job. We had a lot to do. Like my dad had a barbecue business, and so I worked very hard in that, very young in that. And of course, like there was a reward at the end of the day. I got paid. It was $2 an hour, but I mean, that's the reward, right?
Yeah.
Congratulations, you did your job.
That's it. I mean, that's kind of how, like, even my parents are now like that. So when I graduated high school, everybody was like, woo, graduation. My mom was like, all right, what you doing in college?
So all right, what's the next thing?
Exactly. Because they know that that's something I was supposed to do. She knows that I'm good at it. And she knows that this is my responsibility at the moment. Why would I praise her for it? But they're happy for me, and you can tell because they're not like, well, you messed up.
They're not bad. Like my parents are not bad parents. Your family is very loving, and I've had like a meal at your house, and like you can tell there's a lot of love there. And I don't think that there is a different level of love with this. It's a difference in like child raising. It's a difference in like background, and I think the result is dramatically different. You have an enormous amount of people who culturally have been given third place prizes, seventh place prizes. And what that does is it damages them to thinking that they deserve a prize for doing subpar work. Yeah. They deserve a prize for messing up, for it not being what others can produce. And when you go into a capitalist society, as America is, and you go to the marketplace and you are completely judged, is this person greater than this person?
Yep.
And even this, like, does this person offer different value points? Do they have a different price on them? And you're looked at and you said, yeah, I'm not going to choose you.
Yeah.
And then that rejection hits them. And then they seek and they look around for their parents to give them this prize that does no longer exist anymore. The prize is you failed. You don't have any money. You're not going to eat today. And so move on. Right? Yeah. And I love that system because I thrive in that system.
Well, see, for me, like, I love competition. I am the type of person who's always been. Now, going back to UTM as an example, the reason I said degree isn't important is because at some point, everyone will graduate. Like, they might end up with a C and they graduate, but it's the whole subpar thing, right?
Yeah.
The reason I feel like I was, I feel good as a designer is because Stout, going back to Stout again.
He's a good guy.
It was the thing, you never got a 50 out of 50 in his class. You never got it because, Stout always thought you could do better. So, it was that. I think the idea of grasping onto opportunities and thinking that you can be better as a designer, better as an artist, better as a person, people don't think that. They're like, this is what I need to do, and I did it. Well, I'm good at it. Now let me get out of here.
No
get
progression.
A degree.
I'm done. Close the chapter. Right? They can't move. They can't move forward. They have mastery. They have it now. Yeah. I am now a graphic designer. Done. Come to me, Jobs.
Does not work like that.
Why do they think this?
Exactly.
I don't get it.
I think you have to be like extraordinary for somebody to come up to you and be like, please be my designer.
Maybe that's where social media comes in, because people maybe of less talent are being like completely just shown love online, and then they're just boom, they just blow up. And then looking at someone that, hey, I can design better than that, or hey, I am of that caliber, but I don't have that following. And you don't know their journey to get all all those social likes and interactions and all that engagement. But yeah, this has always baffled me. This has always been a thing of frustration, because we're employing people, Tanya. Like, we have people that are working for us. We have over 30 employees. So, in the last podcast, I was talking with Courtney. It was titled How to Fail. And inside of that podcast, we were talking a lot about like what it means to operate and the difference between like an operator and someone who is a follower. So a leader and a follower. And I've always I like building my own system. I think you're like that as well. I like working on a team. Like, I don't mind doing that. And so I feel like, I have 3 people inside my whole operation that are operators. I'm an operator, you're an operator, and Rachel's an operator. Rachel Sellers, which is over district managing of like 2 of the coffee shops. And I want to talk to her about this stuff like later on too. But it's a difficult thing when you're in the position not only of just working with people, but also trying to lead people and trying to speak to people in a way that would encourage them to work harder, and then establishing that value there. Because if we, me and you, do not figure out how to lead people that are an entitled generation, then we're not able to succeed ourselves.
I think it's kind of frustrating with the whole entitlement thing, because I feel like everybody around me I know is an extremely hard worker. So when somebody like that comes along and is like, you have to give me this because I did this. Like, again, no one owes you anything.
Yeah.
Like Rachel is such a hard worker. I feel like she deserves every job that she has because she's worked so hard for it.
Yeah.
Caitlin deserves every job she has because she's a great designer. She's a great artist. She's worked hard for it. Like, I never say that I'm a great designer, because I feel like I just cannot make myself be the greatest. Like, I just can't feel that way.
And that's a different definition inside of the word great. And I know we talked about, we won't get into that big discussion that we had. We won't get into that big discussion that we had about greatness and what that is. But I do think that it does have some interest inside of this whole talk about entitlement and talk about like being able to be better and getting better, with this idea of I have completed this degree, I have completed this title, right? To be a designer, you are that. To be a great designer, have I achieved greatness? On what level is that? Is that perfection in that? Is that having a career? Because you are a professional, right? You are a professional designer. You've done that. So you've achieved that certain level of it. But I feel like, people feel like they've earned a title that they've not done any work for.
Well, I feel like the people who feel that way are usually the one that think that, they are the greatest and they've reached the end of, like, this is the best that I can get. I feel like you can't ever be best at something. You always can progress and always be better at something. So, like, I feel like that's the difference between people who work hard versus people who think that something should be given to them because of who they are.
Well, it's also internal versus external. I think that people who judge themselves by others can say, hey, I'm the best, right?
Yeah.
Because think about that. Am I the best designer in Martin, Tennessee? Am I the best company in Martin, Tennessee? Do I have the best media design firm? Heck yeah, I got the best media design firm, right? Am I the best internally? No, heck no.
Yeah.
We got so much to learn and so much to like grow on and so much to do. So maybe, a big part of people who feel entitled, of people who feel like they deserve everything, have designed it, have like committed to an external definition of who they are. And that's so much what we talked about in the last podcast too. It's like my surrounding has validated me. But the job market looks internal and says, can you offer that? Yes or no? Not what you have accomplished holistically. And that is difficult to talk to people who have that mentality. So, I mean, what do you think about that concept? The concept of, people who, because I'm trying to relate, because the reality is, like we talked about earlier, like, I mean, there's a real challenge to us and to this team of 3 right here to be able to speak to people in a way that is empathetic, that says, I know where you're at, and here's where we got to be. Because for a long time at the beginning of things, and you've seen me mess up a lot, Tanya, and you've seen a lot of people like, embarrassed to say, like, I mean, near 100 people that we've employed over 2 years that, struggled with this right here. I don't feel like I'm doing a good job. I don't feel like I can do anything right. And, now it's changed a lot. And we have a really great team in Huntington and a really great team inside of Martin Coffeehouse and like a really great team with our little team with Fernway. And it's just, trying to have more empathy with that. But I'm just so frustrated with a sense of entitlement. And I hate that the system's broken for people. I mean, what advice would you give? I mean, do you think that people know that they're entitled? Are they aware? I mean, in your experience, like you were in college, like I was too, but I mean, you were in an art community, right? I wasn't. And so there's a lot more, I think, of boasting yourself up. It's a big risk because it's your work.
Yeah.
You are on display. And a lot of those shows, like you've won some art shows, you won some photography contests, you've done that, right? Well, that really boosts you up, right?
Yeah.
So all the people inside of, say, LSA, and LSA is a great organization on campus. And you did so well in that.
Yes.
Do you think that, what advice would you give to people who are entitled?
Well, I feel like, would a person know that they're entitled until they're actually hit with something, though? Like the hit with the reality of that, oh, maybe I don't deserve everything. I feel like, not being able to get a job and eventually realizing that I could have done better and this is how I could do better.
So they have to fall.
That's how I feel. Or unless you're around somebody who calls you out on that. I feel like...
Well, can we just call them out on it? Hey, if you're listening to this... I'm joking. That's too much.
No, I feel like, it depends on... Obviously, it depends on, like, how you were raised and everything. But, once you grow up, you kind of take charge of your own self. So eventually realizing and getting caught into something like, oh, I can't find a job because I was thinking that I was the best in the world and I was the best. This is how the best I can get. And now I can't find a job. Maybe it was my own fault. Like, I feel like for us, like when you're a hard worker, you seek opportunity, you go talk to people, you connect with people, and you make it your own. Like nothing's going to be handed down to you. So I personally don't think that you will be able to realize something like that unless somebody calls you out on it or you deal with it on your own.
I mean, I tell people on a regular basis that they're... I don't. I'm just joking.
Couldn't get in trouble.
Oh, man. Hey, I think you're entitled. Yeah, that's a great thing to say to somebody.
Yeah, it's hard, right? Because I feel like you have to be really close to somebody in order to, if you even can say something like that. Like, I mean, I think Caitlin and Rachel kept me grounded. Like, I don't think I'm an entitled person or anything, but like, I feel like they still kept me very grounded. And it's about the people that you're with and how they treat you and how you treat them and how you treat your own artwork and how you treat the other people who are making the artwork with you. I feel like that's what's kind of going to be, you have to experience it on your own.
So here's a scenario. You're a freshman inside of college. You're going to get a degree in the arts, whether it's graphic design or if it's, whatever it is. Okay. You've joined LSA because it's a great organization to join. And then, you're just feeling like you deserve everything. Like there has to be something that these people, that the people can do. Like it can't, I would hate for someone to have to fail in order to do that. Let me give you a personal example. Okay. This is like not in the art world, but it was about respect to my mother.
All right.
Okay. I don't know why I thought that I deserved a meal given to me. I don't know why I thought that I deserved for my mom to wash my clothes or to iron my Sunday suit. I don't know why that was in me, but I don't know if I was in the States or if I was in Nepal. But I remember the day that it was just so clear to me when my mom said, I don't have to do this. You're disrespecting me. You're not showing me honor. You're not appreciating this. And I don't know where you think that this is owed to you. And I went away for a little bit, like to my own room. I couldn't go in. I didn't have a car. I just cried. And I was like, how could I be taking my mother for granted? How could I do it? I don't even know if she even remembers this, but it was a turning point for me because I looked at my mom in this way of like, she owes this service to me because I am John. I don't even know. Like I am her son, right? And of course, like a mother should love you. Like a mother should do things for you.
Yeah.
But and I think that you deserve a mother's love. Like you deserve that. But I took that for granted. And the reason why I feel so strongly about a lot of these ideas and entitlement is that people are taking their opportunity for granted. You know, you talked about, you know, your mom like teaching you like when opportunity presents itself, you hold on to that.
Yeah.
Well, that's about respect. That's respecting the opportunity that someone is giving you, or the opportunity that you have worked hard and you deserve. And sometimes it's unwarranted. Like, you know, my mom just loved me. She has a huge servant's heart. You've met her. Like, she's an amazing person. And I took that for granted. And I think I try my best not to ever do that again. But I think you know, you have to evaluate what's around you and ask yourself, am I taking this for granted? Am I taking the access to go to UTM for granted? Am I taking the access of this freedom to live in this country for granted? And I think that entitlement stems from that. Taking the opportunity that's around you for granted, feeling really selfish, like being very selfish about that, and then not taking responsibility for the failures in your life. Those things equal entitlement. It's this toxic thing.
Yeah.
And it bothers me on a deep level, this entitlement. Even that word like provokes me, because it is those things that make up that person. And you know that person has these certain characteristics in them. And I don't like that. Like, I don't want that around me. Like, I don't want that inside of any sort of system that we're designing, because it's toxic.
Yeah.
And it's infectious. Like, it goes to other people around them.
It does.
It breeds this negativity about life, about everything, and it creates an impossible situation for happiness. Entitled people will never be truly happy.
Yeah.
They'll never be truly happy. And that just bothers me. You know, that's a thing. And I wish that there were more people like Stout that were like really like being realistic about what it means to be an artist.
That's a real important thing for me, because I feel I would not have been an artist if it was not for Stout.
That's a big statement.
It's true, because before he got me the internship, I was actually considering moving my majors to criminal justice.
Criminal justice.
That's what my parents wanted me to do. So like, I was like, okay, but it was because he always, keeps you real. Like, if you're doing a good job, like, hearing a compliment from Stout is not a big thing. So, I always worked towards that. I was like, I want to do a good job so that Stout's happy from me, because he's done so much. I want to make him happy as well.
Yeah.
So like, it was that thing for me. Stout is just like, he, even in classroom, he wants to keep, like, you have to keep working hard. Like, he'll be with you the whole time. He'll stay after class, and he'll make sure that if you're working hard, he will be there for you.
Yeah.
So it's like, another thing is, if you ever take a step back, if you feel like you're an entitled person, you take a step back and you look around you and you start seeing the people that actually support you, and you grab onto that and work harder. Yeah. That's another way to
getting out of that.
Yeah. Getting out of that without like failing and figuring out, oh crap, like, what happened?
Yeah,
that's how I feel about that.
Well, it's pride cometh before fall, right? I remember I don't like talking about the past. I still have a lot of problems. I do, but it's been an issue with me. It's been an issue with like employees, and I have so many stories that I'm not going to tell on here of people that you can tell, like, maybe they did like a photo shoot and got super gassed up, and then like, peace out, put in my 2 weeks notice. Yeah. Or maybe they were just, really got complimented and like, oh, I'm better than dishes. Like, every time that you work at Martin Coffeehouse, the first like week is just washing dishes. Why? Well, a lot of people quit after washing dishes. They'll have like their nails all done. They'll be all there, and they're like, "You mean I got to touch that water? Yeah, you got to wash the freaking dishes. What do you mean? Think you could wash dishes? Do you know what I did for like most of my life? Clean out barbecue pits, grease, coals, ash. My whole life, man. I'm digging in them pits. I'm disgusting." And that's what I was doing, man. And like, yeah, I paid my dues. And I said, you know what? I'm going to work my butt off. I'm going to save up money. I'm going to try to develop a skill. I'm going to buy a camera. And then just because I have a camera doesn't mean I'm a photographer, right? I'm not going to just do that again, right? So I'm going to work. I'm going to earn it. And then slowly it just built into being able to have, all the different companies that we have, and then all the great nonprofit outreaches that we have. And then I just, I keep on reliving a little bit of those moments when I have someone, have this entitlement issue, and they come up to me. I just imagine myself slaving away in those, terrible muck and mire barbecue pits, and then I have someone come up to me. I don't think I really want to wash the dishes. I just become unglued sometimes, honey. I just step away. I complain to you about it. And then I have a meeting. I'm very well structured. And I say, listen, you're fired. Leave.
I also think it's really funny because, like, I feel like Martin Coffeehouse is very much of a high pressure work environment. I'll say that. Like, I believe that. Because,
I guess.
Yeah, because I mean, if you compare it, or I don't know, how can I compare? But I feel like, you know, I review the applications that sometimes people send, and they're like, I'm just really looking forward to working in a low pressure work environment. And I'm like, good luck with that. Because, like, it's not just making coffee and making coffee look pretty. It's so much more than that. So much more. Just because, like, people don't see that part of it.
No, they don't see it.
That's what I feel like that's another person who comes up with the entitlement part, because they think that, oh, it's just a job where I have to make coffee and serve it to people and we'll be done. But that's like...
Well, people don't want to work, Tanya. People don't want to work.
It's true.
They're looking to not work. They're looking to get a job to not work. And that's such a weird deal. You know, so much of who I am and my identity is inside of work. Mm-hmm. You know, whatever type of work that it is. Like right now, working on a podcast. Yeah. Right now, it's working at something else. Working on weddings. Working on production. That's who I am. Mm-hmm. My identity is in that. But for these people, like these other types of people, culturally speaking, okay, like right now, I don't know where their identity is at. And I don't know if they know where it's at. You know, I don't know if they know who they are. And I think when you don't know who you are, then everything's just weird. Everything's like just misplaced. Yeah. You know? I mean, do you know who you are, Tanya?
Me? I would say so. I mean, I feel like, you know, I've taken I feel like self-care is such a weird term, but like I definitely believe in that, you know.
I do too.
A year and a half I took time out to just think about myself. So I mean, a lot of people don't do that as well. So like, you know, where you have to take a step back and see where you stand like for yourself and people around you, people that you care about. That's also, I feel like, another way to keep yourself grounded, because you know, if you always take a step back and you think about like, you know, I need to be treating this person like with more respect, or you know, I need to give more love to this person. That's another way to keep yourself from like feeling like, well, you know, like they're friends with me because I deserve that. That's another thing. You know, I feel like friendship even needs to be two ways. Like it can't just be like I deserve it. I mean, it's entitlement in friendships. I mean, it's kind of all over the place. Like you have to be able to take a step back and think about like, do I even deserve this? What have I done to deserve this?
Yeah.
Like,
while balancing that out and not being too down on yourself.
Yep.
You know, because, you know, we are all human beings here, and it's about respect. Like you need to take a step back, get off social media just for a little bit. Put the dang phone down. Okay.
No Fortnite.
just no Fortnite. Dang it, Tanya. No more Fortnite. You got to start working harder. Take a step back, right? No social media, but let this journey be based in respect. Respect yourself first. Do I deserve that? You know, you deserve to be happy. You know what I mean? And that's a big deal. You can't be down on yourself. Like you can't be like, I don't deserve anything in life. I don't deserve friends. I don't deserve that. You do. You deserve to be happy. That's what you deserve. That's what you deserve. But you can't let your happiness be external, right? You have to be happy with yourself first. You have to have respect for yourself first. And then you start evaluating and you say, do I deserve this friendship, the kindness that someone is like being with me, like working with me? Do I deserve that? Am I doing my part to give back to them? Am I honoring what I've been given? And I think a lot of it for me, like I'm a religious person, like, and I believe that I don't deserve the time I've been given. I believe that God has given me time. He's blessed me with that. Why? I don't know. I don't know why he's giving me that. But do you think I'm going to take that for granted and play Fortnite? No, I'm joking.
Wow.
I'm joking. There's a time for everything, Tanya. No, I'm joking. There's a time for everything. There's a time for relaxing in that. Yeah. But it's about evaluating. It's about evaluating, like, am I honoring what I have been given? Yes or no? And if it's no, then there has to be a reality check there. Yeah. And then working inside of that. Entitled people are selfish. Entitled people don't know and don't like give thankful. They're not thankful at all to the people that are around them. And they're leeches to all their friends. They're leeches to everything. Yeah. And it's a hard thing to deal with that. But I don't know. I guess that was like a sidetrack there. Honor your time. No more Fortnite. No,
No more Fortnite. Leave my Fortnite alone. Well, I guess for me, it was the step back I was talking about, right? So like when I was able to step back and look at the people around me, like, you know, I had to look at my mom, I had to look at my dad and everything like they were doing for me. I had to look at Caitlin, what everything she did for me, you know, in my college. I mean, I've known her for 7 years and I know she's done a lot for me.
Yeah.
So like I think it was for me, I mean, I do this a lot where I'll step back and just like reevaluate like everything. I mean, I've been doing and everybody around has been doing, you know,
have a check on them.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah. If you have people in your life that are entitled people, guess what we talked about earlier, right? It's a toxic situation. It breeds. It's infectious.
Yeah.
Cut it out.
Yeah. It's hard, right?
It's not.
It's really hard.
It's not hard at all.
When you're around somebody like that, like
get out of my life. I don't want to see you no more.
I mean, doesn't it depend on person to person?
Yeah,
I feel like with certain people, I am like this. I always want to like fix people. This is a big thing for me. Like, I feel like if somebody is going through something, I'm like, well, you know, if I'm friends with them, maybe I can, you know, help them get out of that. And that's when it's hard. That's good. It's hard. I mean, it is bad because it's hard for like people like us to get rid of toxic people out of our lives.
Not me.
It's true. Like
you're more empathetic though.
Yeah.
Like you have a much. I don't like saying that you have a bigger heart than I do, but I think that you have more whatever. You have more empathy, man. Like you do. Like you're a much more empathetic person. You care more. You do care more. But I've had toxic people. No, I've not. I've not had toxic people in my life. They're just not around. You know why? Because I just like get out of my life. Like I really have just I don't have the time and I don't want that. And I want it to be very straightforward. And trying to fix it, yes. Like I'll say, hey man, like 1, 2, 3, 4. Like here's my issue with you. Well, people don't want to work on themselves. So they're just like, okay, I'll see you later, John. And they don't give me a peace sign either. So it's like, you know what I mean? But that's great though. That like you try to work on people.
Yeah, but then I think it comes back to self-care, right? It comes back to, well, they're not doing anything and you're exhausting yourself, so it's time to take a step back and, you know, care about the people that actually matter rather than, you know, trying to care about people who are entitled and they feel like, you know, you're here, you're helping them out. It's because they deserve
Tanya, you can't care for other people till you care for yourself. Let me just drop that word.
Bars.
You know what I mean, though? It is that concept. Like, how are you supposed to fill someone else up when you're empty, right? And you're constantly going to be empty. And entitled people are always empty. Yeah. They're always empty. They're always empty because they're not filling themselves up.
Yeah.
If you're to be entitled means you don't have any self-care.
Yeah.
You're getting other people to care for you because they deserve to care for you.
That's right.
I hate that.
That's right. And I mean, and poor people who, you know, care about other people more than they care about themselves, like, fall into the traps of that. So
you see, like going back to my mom, like it's just like it's a servant's heart. Like it's just people have a servant's heart.
Yeah.
And those people are amazing. A lot of those people are teachers. A lot of those people are nurses and in positions that demand so much empathy. And there is a real trap, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's a big trap for people who have a servant's heart to just give all that they have away till they have no more.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. Well, you know, we're talking about entitlement and in the context of being an artist and in creating a job for yourself and going and claiming what you want in life. This has been great.
Yeah, like, so, okay, talking about in the art community, because I can speak for that, right? Like, if I hadn't joined LSA, I would not have had the opportunity, and that wouldn't have made me work harder. So, you know, grab all the opportunity that you have because you feel like not because you feel like you deserve it and everybody needs to give it to you, but because you're going to grab it and you're going to work hard and you're going to make it the best that you possibly can.
Right.
That's what I feel about, like, you know, entitlement. Like, keep yourself in check, keep the others around you in check, make sure that, you know, they keep you grounded, you keep them grounded, and, you know, like, work hard as much as you can. That's when you're going to deserve the opportunity you have, not because you did something and it was just handed down to you.
I agree. This has been the Act Natural podcast with John and Courtney. Courtney's not here, but Tanya is, and it's been great having you on to talk about entitlement.
Thank you so much.
See you in the next one.
Bye.